It's impressive. It's impressive just how bad Crunchyroll really is. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, what I'm about to talk about isn't necessarily as bad as yesterday's news about them, where you had an employee fired because he wanted to take some time off to take care of his terminally ill mother with cancer, but this still showcases an aspect of Crunchyroll's Department of Management and marketing and how they deal with transparency and interact with their community. It showcases just what type of company this is, and that they legitimately don't want to own up to any mistakes, they don't want to be transparent, and they don't want to hear your voice. I mean, this was already apparent with the removal of comments last year on Crunchyroll, which was obviously a very controversial move. I mean, I've talked about this already, but to give a little bit up to speed for those that are unaware of the comment section removal, one episode caused a little bit of controversy in the comments, so to speak. It got a little bit heated, so to speak. Okay, and the thing is Crunchyroll's overall reaction to it was to remove the comment section, not just from that series or that episode, but basically the entirety of the site. They nuked the comment section that has been basically a staple part of Crunchyroll's site for a decade plus. So it was a very controversial move, but it also showed that Crunchyroll wanted to not just distance themselves from the community, but silence their community. They didn't want to hear any negative feedback, they didn't want to hear people talking about a series, they didn't want to hear it whatsoever. And so it was a very drastic move that showcased a very anti-consumer practice that Crunchyroll was doing late last year, or middle of last year, not late, but in the middle of last year. So we fast forward to this. This is another good example of just the mismanagement, not just of the product ReZero, but also mismanagement of just being transparent with your community that you're trying to build, and really just kind of spitting on the goodwill of people that do want to actually watch the series on your said site. I have went on length and a rant about Crunchyroll literally last week about the ReZero situation with the marketing to the bad translations, and I want to talk a little bit more about that today, because this honestly, this is disgraceful. It really is. And I want to once again reinstate this. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't the biggest of deals, okay? Obviously, you know, yesterday's stuff was definitely a lot more important. But like I said, this showcases insight to the company and how they operate, not just with ReZero, but basically all their products and how they interact with their community. It's a really good insight into that. So let's get into where this all started, so to speak, and why so many people are starting to talk about it. Well, basically, a few days ago, you had a post like this that the official ReZero account made. For clarification, this account right here is the official Crunchyroll-owned ReZero English account. They make posts and stuff about ReZero, and this is owned by Crunchyroll. They are in charge of this. So anyways, a few days ago, they actually had a post that was made that said, "Reinhardt hit Pride where it hurts. His pride." So anyone that has watched the show and has a basic understanding of ReZero, hell, you don't even need to watch Season 3, you need to just watch the beginning of Season 2. And you will know who Regulus is. He is the Sin Archbishop of Greed. He's Greed. It was introduced at the beginning of Season 2, okay? This isn't a new revelation. This isn't something that just came out with this episode. It's something that's been established for years. Season 2 of ReZero came out in 2020, 5 years ago, okay? The fact that you have a Crunchyroll account, an actual advertisement official account for ReZero, advertising ReZero, and they get the main enemy of the arc wrong, their name, is pretty funny. Especially when at this point the accusations against him was pretty bad. To kind of explain what I mean is that up to this very point, basically, the official ReZero account was not even advertising ReZero. It was basically a dead account for years. And to be fair, if there is no new ReZero, it makes sense there would be no new content. But I want to show an example to this, a counterpoint. This right here is the official PR account for Free Ren. As we know, Free Ren is over. The anime's over right now. It's not coming out. We know there's going to be a continuation, but, you know, there's technically no new content. And this account is very active. In fact, you have literally whoever is in charge of this account literally just constantly posting this Free Ren plushie doing random stuff. And it's like a man or a woman just having fun with their Free Ren plushie. It's very entertaining and it's very wholesome. And it showcases that they're trying to keep interest and conversation around Free Ren alive. I respect this. This is what a PR account should do. It should continue garnering interest in the said product for you can sell not just, let's say, the show to people or the manga, but products in general. Just if the conversation stays alive, this series will have longevity and will be able to be talked about in the coming future. So basically, this example here is that you have an account that theoretically doesn't really need to be posting as often as they do, but they do, because they obviously like free Ren, but they also understand the overall weight and the significance of the series and how it means to be a manager of an account, especially if you're a form of PR for free Ren. So that gets into the situation with ReZero. Mistakes happen, and I want to point something out. There's nothing wrong with the ReZero account making a mistake and calling greed pride, okay? That's not necessarily an issue. The issue at hand is the fact that this isn't like the only mistake that, Crunchyroll has made with ReZero. I talked about this in my video last week, but I'm going to bring it up here. Crunchyroll, for all 9 episodes of Season 3 of ReZero, they have had a drastic mistranslation every single episode. Some smaller than others, some larger than others, some very important to the plot. They continuously mess up the translations. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, how is this in relation to this post, the official ReZero account that Crunchyroll is operating? The thing is, it's very clear the overall management of the ReZero product is in just absolute a dire state. To basically no advertisement for the series whatsoever until the day it basically came out. No revealing of trailers or anything like that. No showcasing, no talking about it. Nothing. To basically next to no PR for the series for a long time. And the fans themselves really had to speak up and start talking about the series just to get people to really know that the series was coming out. Which that gets into the other point I talked about in my video. A lot of people were completely unaware that ReZero returned last week. Hell, there's probably a lot of people still that's unaware that ReZero returned. It's back, and Crunchyroll has barely advertised the said product, and a lot of people have been calling them out for it. So after multiple days upon days and weeks now of them basically calling Crunchyroll out, they make this post and messing up this advertisement for the latest episode. And so obviously you have a lot of fans that get very disgruntled with this because it's like, how do you keep making these mistakes? It's not just the fact that you have mistranslations. It's not the fact that you continue to not advertise, but now you do stuff like this with an official post. It's very clear that whoever is operating the whole marketing for ReZero does not care for ReZero. And that's bad. I'm just going to be blunt with you. If you have someone in charge of marketing for a set product, they should potentially be interested in the said product. They should not be a part of managing that said account, managing that said property, if they literally have no regard for it, or no consideration or care. Because I think it's pretty important for someone that maybe has some passion for it to be able to talk about it constantly. And that gets into what I talked about when it came to the free Ren account. It's very clear that whoever operates this account is very passionate about the said product. They're constantly talking about it, they're constantly posting pictures about it, and it showcases that this is how you do marketing. And then you look at the absolute state of the official ReZero account, and then you realize it is just a catastrophe. In fact, I want to point something out. Ever since all this drama for the last week that's happened, this account has been talking a little bit more about ReZero than it used to. Not as much, obviously, as you can clearly see, but it has made a lot more posts than it's had in basically the last few years. And I think that in general, it seems like the overall conversation of people talking about Crunchyroll's marketing is starting to work. They're like, oh crap, maybe we should start marketing. It's not looking too good. But I'm just like, I don't know what Crunchyroll is doing with this, but it's so bad because it showcases a complete disconnect from not just ReZero, but the anime community. It's really bad because, like, let's get into Ice's post here. This is removed comments. These are hidden replies, removed comments on Crunchyroll's latest post, which you could see here. You click here, and then you go into this section. You could see the hidden replies. And even if you disagree or don't agree with these, whatever, Crunchyroll is actively hiding criticism to how they've been handling stuff. You can see this pointed out right here. They're actively hiding criticism. Instead of acknowledging it, instead of saying, oh, we messed up or whatever, sorry or whatever, humanize. Humanize the account, because we know whoever's running it is human at the end of the day. If they admitted it and humanized it, a lot of people would rally and probably support it. But the fact there's been, like, zero transparency, and this once again echoes everything we've already seen from Crunchyroll and Sony at this point and how they handle things, I don't think it's really going to change. Just the more and more stuff like this that continues to come out, the more it really irks me just about how the company is run in general. It's just, It feels disrespectful, honestly. I mean, obviously, this isn't as disrespectful as, like, maybe the mistranslations continuously for every single episode. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Every episode of ReZero Season 3 being mistranslated, that's disrespectful. 100%. It pisses me off. Like, actually, as a fan. Like, that's crazy. That should not even be, that shouldn't even be allowed. Once again, if one mistake happened, that's fine. 9 episodes? It doesn't seem like it's just a mistake anymore. That seems like either someone's really bad at their job, or they just really don't care about the product of ReZero. And it's looking more like both of them, actually. It's looking like both, not just one, but both. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the situation. Like I said, it's nothing groundbreaking. I don't think it's anything crazy as yesterday's stuff, but I do think that in general, this is just another little line on Crunchyroll's track record of how awful they really are in terms of marketing and communication. It's not good, man. It's not. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Be safe, stay healthy, stay winning. Chibi out.